classic biology topics that can feel a little tricky. How in the world do plants drink? We're going to turn this into a really simple visual story, basically a powerful study guide to help you absolutely ace your next exam.
I mean, really think about that for a second. You've got these giant sequoia trees, right? They can move hundreds of gallons of water from way down in the ground all the way up to their highest leaves every single day. And they do it with no moving parts. How on earth is that even possible? Well, that's the exact puzzle we're going to solve together today.
You know, for any plant, doesn't matter if it's a tiny little sprout or a huge tree, getting it drink is its biggest, most constant challenge. It's a fundamental engineering problem that evolution had to solve for life on land to even happen.
See, unlike animals, plants are pretty much stuck in one place. They can't just get up and walk over to a lake for a drink. So they had to develop this incredible internal system to find water and then get it where it needs to go. It's a network that starts deep in the soil and reaches every single part of the plant.
So here's the key thing to remember. The whole process really breaks down into two main jobs. First, you've got absorption from the soil, and second, you've got transport, getting that water up to the rest of the plant. We're going to walk through them one by one.
Okay, let's dive into the first part of this journey. It all starts underground, in a place we don't often see, the plant's super intricate root system.
We usually think of roots as just being an anchor, right? Holding the plant in the ground. But that's really only half the story. They're this incredibly sophisticated, sprawling network that's designed for one main purpose: to collect water and minerals from the soil.
And the real secret to how they do this so well, it comes down to these things: root hair cells. Now, these aren't the big, thick roots you can see. They're microscopic little extensions covering them. The best way to think of them is like millions of tiny sponges, which massively increases the surface area for soaking up as much water as possible.
Okay, let's zoom in on this diagram for a second. This shows the journey that water takes perfectly. It's not just a simple soaking process. It's a very specific path. It moves from the soil into a root hair cell, and then it gets passed from cell to cell, kind of like a baton in a relay race.
So for your notes, let's make that diagram super simple. Here are the 3 key steps. 1, water gets into the root hair cell. 2, it travels across all the other cells in the root. And 3, it finally arrives at the central core, where the plant's main transport tissues are waiting to take it on the next leg of its journey.
All right, so the water is now inside the root. But honestly, the hardest part is still to come. Now it has to go all the way up the stem, fighting against gravity the entire way. And here's the magic trick the plant uses to pull it off. This is the big question, right? How does a plant make water flow upwards? It doesn't have a pump, it doesn't have a heart. Well, the answer is actually a really simple and elegant piece of physics that we can actually see for ourselves.
This classic celery experiment is the perfect way to see what's going on. You just put a celery stalk in some colored water, wait a few hours, and you can see the results. The color gets pulled up from the beaker and into the leaves, which proves that something inside that stem is actively moving water upwards.
Now here's the crucial piece of evidence. When you cut a cross-section of the celery, you see this. The color isn't spread out everywhere, is it? No, it's concentrated in these tiny, distinct little dots. And that shows us that water travels up the stem in specific, dedicated channels.
It's as simple as that. These colored dots are literally showing us the plant's internal plumbing. It's a network of pipes that runs the entire length of the plant, perfectly designed to move water efficiently.
So these pipes have a name, and this is a key term you'll want to remember: xylem vessels. They're these incredibly long, hollow, continuous tubes. For your studying, just think of them as the plant's built-in, super thin drinking straws.
So how do these straws work without any suction? Well, the answer is a physical force called capillary action. It's this really cool phenomenon where water just naturally wants to climb up inside very thin tubes. And since the xylem vessels are so incredibly narrow, this effect is strong enough to help pull water all the way up the stem, completely defying gravity. Okay, let's bring it all home. We've traced the water's entire path from the soil all the way up the stem. Now, let's boil everything down into a simple summary that you can use for your studies. Here it is, your study cheat sheet. It's this simple. First, absorption. That happens at the root hair cells. Second, transport. That happens through the xylem vessels, which act just like straws. Third, the mechanism. That's capillary action, helping pull the water up. And fourth, our evidence, the celery experiment, which makes this whole invisible process easy to see. So,
The next time you see a flower or just a big tree, remember that there's this incredible silent engine working inside it, defying gravity every single second. Plants solve this amazing engineering problem every day, which just makes you wonder, right? What other amazing natural wonders are we overlooking all around us?